Four on the floor, brought to you by Citywide Banks. Question number one. TJ Ward, suspended for a game. Reason for suspension? He says, my last name's not Brady. Is he right? Is that why?
Well, he said that he thought that NFL had been spending too much time on the Brady matter. They got other guys. Despite what we think, the commissioner doesn't make every ruling, but the statute of limitations had run out on that. If you were going to do it last year. You don't do it this year.
Yeah, I didn't get it. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. But I will tell you this. I have been told that there is a very good chance the NFL wanted to suspend him for 2 or 3 games, and he negotiated it down to 1 game. And the reason the NFL had jurisdiction is because he pled to a misdemeanor. And that automatically gives the NFL jurisdiction, and they can do what they want with him according to the current rules, the CBA.
A misdemeanor?
Yep.
A misdemeanor is like putting trash on the sidewalk.
I know, but it's illegal activity, and the NFL has jurisdiction.
And you
in
know
that
me
case.
well enough. I don't care whether he's here or somewhere else. But if he'd have been with the Arizona Cardinals, I'd have gone, that's stupid.
Yeah,
it
is stupid.
Out. Yeah.
All right, NASCAR has throwback paint jobs this weekend. What driver has missed the most
Number 3.
in NASCAR?
Number 3.
Yeah, Earnhardt. I would absolutely say that as well. You know, Richard Petty's grandson, Kyle Petty, died in a crash during a practice in the year 2000. And NASCAR really thought he was going to be an emerging star. He had a big personality. And I think the sport misses him some. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Earnhardt, they build shrines to Earnhardt. All right, next question, and I have no idea what this means.
I'm going to explain it to you.
Should there be a rule against putting giant chipmunks on the scoreboard before a kick? Explain.
I think it's the funniest thing I have seen at a football game. I believe it's fun. You know what the Duke students do when guys are shooting free throws?
Yes. Wave stuff, stand up, scream.
Minnesota put a giant, I thought it was a gopher because of the Minnesota Gophers. Jimmy, am I wrong? Was it a chipmunk?
Yes, probably a gopher.
It's
I think
probably
it's a gopher. They have one of those big screens like they have it, the Broncos have and everybody else has.
Behind the goalposts?
It's right behind the golf post. And they put a gigantic gopher up there, the Minnesota Gophers, and it's moving its head. And the kicker's got to stare into this giant gopher. And I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen at a college football game because the gophers are you have to see it.
What was
I guess we can't put it up.
It does sound funny. What was the animal that the California Angels or the Los Angeles Angels?
Squirrel.
The monkey?
The
rally monkey. Yeah. That was kind of funny.
Wasn't it the Cardinals who had a squirrel that was their lucky squirrel or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, the rally monkey was. But you got to see it. So everybody at home,
I'll look it up on the net.
go to Fox or someplace.com and you'll see it. You'll see the guy trying to kick, and in his face is this gigantic gopher staring at him.
All right, last question, 4 on the floor. Would you rather go bull riding in a thong or spend Labor Day weekend with just Dick Montfort? Let me go here.
Yeah.
I'm going first. I don't want to be within 10 miles of Dick Montfort. I will go buy a thong. I'll borrow one from Jason Giambi, and I will go bull ride on a Brahma bull before I spend Labor Day weekend trying to make conversation with that guy.
There's a Woody Allen movie where he is guilty of a crime, and you see him going down in a cellar because he's been sentenced to be in a cellar, and as he's going down the steps to the cellar, there's a guy going, let me talk to you about life insurance portfolio. And I thought the worst thing in the whole world would be sentenced to be in a cellar for a long time with a guy who sells life insurance. I would spend the Labor Day weekend with just Dick Montfort because I had an opportunity once with a coach who wouldn't talk to me anymore. There was a lawsuit. Bob Bass, remember Bob Bass?
Uh-huh.
Bob Bass would not talk to me again. Jimmy liked this story. Bob Bass was a coach of San Antonio and Denver and Memphis. He vowed he would never talk to me again. The team was sued by a former player. I was asked to testify that I'd written that the player told me he was hurt and going to be out the rest of the year. I go to court to testify. They put me in the witness room, and it's about as big as my studio back there, and the only other person in there is Bob Bass. And I go, So, Bob, I have a lot of questions for you. You talked about a guy that suffered. It was Bob Bass. He couldn't wait to go testify in this court. And I just kept saying, Bob, I wanted to ask you a couple of years ago, because he wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't even talk to the press if I was around. So I'd want to spend Labor Day weekend in a room with Dick Monfort and go, Dick, I got a bunch of questions for you, and you are not getting out of here till you answer them.
Yeah, you know what? I'd love a weekend where I could ask Dick Monfort a ton of
Well,
questions.
no,
I just don't
you
think
want a bull ride in a thong.
He won't
I can't
answer
wait
any
to
of
see
them.
that.
When Dick Monfort's friends talk to him about the team, he does this. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
But you'd wear him down after a while if you're in a room with him. Bull riding in a thong, you couldn't get a job. You couldn't have lunch in this town again. Your friends from the Giants would not have.
You didn't tell me people would be recording it.
Well, how you going to go bull riding in a thong and nobody see it? Have you heard of social media?
Yeah,
you don't think
everywhere.
somebody's going to take a photo
Probably.
and put it all over the world?
Probably.
Gosh. Okay.
I'll take a selfie.
Let's do
That's all right, that's Four on the Floor, brought to you by Citywide Banks, Colorado Focused Business Bank. Lots of locations around Denver and Boulder. Check them out. It's where we do our banking. Citywide.